Okay, in this recording, I'm going to tell you about the other stuff that is attached to FamousOrbitJ so that you can do some advanced astrology research using clustering and stuff like that. Um, so, is it true that the asteroid Laurentia actually does something meaningful? If you didn't know that, then what you could do is add it to your ephemeris files, add it to FamousOrbitJ, and then sort people on it. So, how do you do that? Well, really, there are only two tabs in this worksheet that you need to worry about. They are the 45 down here and asteroids down here. Everything else is backup data. I'll walk you through it in this video, what all that backup data is about, but just know that if you want to input a person's information, you'll do it here under the 45 tab. And if you want to kind of plug in new asteroids, you'll do it up here in these colorful tabs, which happen to match the research angle to the midheaven. The asteroids is a big list of all of the ephemeris files that I downloaded for doing my 4 books. So no, it does not have every minor planet center number asteroid. There are 700,000 of those. I just didn't get to it. Didn't get around to it. But there are quite a few. How many are in here? 1191. So there are 1191 asteroids in here. And whenever you add an asteroid, if you take a look at what's going on here, you need to add 10,000 in order for Swiss Ephemeris to find it. This is just the standard programming for Swiss Ephemeris. They tell you this stuff on AstroDienst on astro.com. So for example, if you're dealing with asteroid number 924, Tony, then fine, this is Tony's number. But if you plan to look it up and have it work in this table, then you're going to have to add 10,000 to it in this column. So just keep that in mind. Here's the name of the thing you'll be typing. Here's the number of it. But here's the one that's actually being used to look for it. Okay, and you see I experimented with some unnamed ones up here as well. They have to stay in alphabetical order. If they're not in alphabetical order, then this stuff will just lie to you and you're not going to know that it's lying. It's going to produce numbers, but you know how Excel works, those of you who've used it. If you're using the lookup function, which I do, then if it's not in alphabetical order, then Excel is going to give up and just give you junk. Okay, what else is in here? Well, this is the original tab from the German file orbit.xls. This one, this next one, and this one, CellBS test, all come from the original orbit.xls. Actually, this and all of its fancy calculations come from basically me guessing what was going on in this file and redoing it with columns and macros and all kinds of other things. But if you want the original orbit.xls, this one, and CellBS test are the tabs that you want. Okay, this one is the level names. That's just used to pick names for things. So for example, if I didn't know what the 16 was, I could type 16 up here and it tells me that a 16 is a 2 square. Oh, I forgot that it did that. And it's highlighting all 2 squares. Yeah, all right. I totally forgot that happened. But, well, that's good. You can use it for other kinds of research. And actually, originally, when I was trying to figure out if a 2 square and other angles like it did anything, this highlighting mechanism is actually what I used. So I went in on people I knew, not these guys, but I went in on people I knew. I highlighted all the 16s, and I asked myself, what does this Sun Moon 16 and this Venus Mars 16 and this Mercury Midheaven 16 all represent? And it'll tell you what 16s does. So you can actually go past all 144 aspects and get into the first 1728 aspects, because that's the next power of 12. And if you wanted to do that, you could highlight, number 1000 or whatever. But level names tells you not only what to highlight, but it tells you the name of what you're highlighting. Don't worry about this column. This column is the order that I entered. This is the order that I did the research on. So the very first advanced aspect I worked on was the 6 novile. That's the Libra novile. That's the first one that I put in there because my own sun moon is separated by this, and I wanted to know what it did. I kept track of the order of things because, um, you know, just for historical sake, if I found that my interpretations were starting to overlap, I would need to know. By the way, this is a preview of the ephemeris function, the German file. This is a preview of the planet positions function. This is a preview of whether your c:\swef backslash EPHE folder works. And it's also a test of whether the macros work. Okay, this one is really, really important. I advise you not to touch it. It's where the orbs start. So you can't just say, for example, that a trine has an orb of plus or minus 6 degrees. If you're going to do it in Excel and you're going to save yourself some headaches, what you have to say instead is that trine is, here we are, a trine starts at something like 118 degrees, and the next guy, Trini 3 quintile apparently, starts at 122.069 degrees. That's how we do orbs in a way that won't strain you with macros and calculations and stuff in Excel. So this table basically tells you what angles go to what. This table does the same thing. They're not redundant. Well, they're a little redundant, but you need them both. One of them does the I forget which is which, but one of them has names and symbols and stuff, and the other one is actually used for lookup. This one is what makes the file run slowly. It actually has the names of every single angle that is possible. So you can see that it's got 3,167 lines. They are arranged by, I believe, angle separation. So if you had some planet pair that was separated by 177.8 degrees, then what this basically tells you is that you're dealing either with a 40-7 novile or you're dealing with a 41-7 undecile. That's the name of the angle. So that's what this tells you. Okay, so all of these are backup data. That's basically it. That's basically how you use this file. If you want to do some fancier stuff, you can, but man, if you unfold all of these, then you'll see pretty much a whole lot of stuff to get you started. So for example, I'm showing Clytemnestra Nema and Clytemnestra Veritas, but if I want the rest of the Clytemnestra stuff, I'll just unfold it. See, these are hidden. It goes from QG to QS. I highlight these up here, right click, unhide, and here's the rest of the stuff. Clytemnestra Sun, Clytemnestra Moon, Clytemnestra Neptune, and you can go in there and figure out what those guys are telling you. Same thing with these. Whenever you want to add a new asteroid, by the way, I don't know if I told you this, it has to be in alphabetical order. I think I did say that. So if you have a new asteroid, let's call it Thyra Plus, then you'd have to insert it right after Thyra, and then you'd have to put the numbers in there. And once you did it, given that you downloaded the appropriate file from ftp.astro.com, then you'll be able to find it. I can't stress that enough, by the way. If I just type in a random asteroid like Dragonera, there is an asteroid out there called Dragonera, but I haven't downloaded the Dragonera ephemeris file and put it in my c:\swef folder. Again, Excel is going to lie to you about whether Dragonera is actually in there. You have to download it. You have to download the ephemeris file, you know, s dot whatever, se1, and then you're going to have to go in here and insert Dragonera, which I know I've done because I've actually researched that one. Here it is. I downloaded a file called S181419. .se1 from ftp.astro.com, put it in my SWF file, put it in my Starfisher file, label it here, and once that's all done, then I can type in Dragonera, and I can count on this stuff being right. Alright, that should get you started with FamousOrbitJ and using it to populate it with people you know and study some patterns.